Razor, are you there? You're still there, right?
Yep, I'm still here.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, my
Well,
man.
I'm deputy underscore Razor on iFunny. I don't ever claim to be a cop at all, so I just want to put that out there. Obviously, I stand with law enforcement in America and things like that. Uh, I got 1.1 thousand subscribers. I've been on iFunny for over 1,000 days. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've argued with a lot of people about things,
Do
and I've even
people
changed some
like
people.
do
So
people like intentionally come up to you and say like, "Hey, bro, why are you such a bootlicker?"
yeah, all the time actually.
Has anyone ever said
It don't
that
bother me.
in
I
real
don't
life?
care.
Because I've never heard that in real life, and I've never used it as an argument.
I've got called it in real life. I don't care.
Bootlicker?
It
Oh
don't
wow.
matter.
I've only
Yeah.
been called it on iFunny, and I've only heard it on.
Wait, you've been
And
called
I'm
on
not.
But
on
you can
iFunny
say
as a bootlicker? Gaim, you've been called bootlicker?
I got called bootlicker one time by this like super libertard. I don't know what he goes by now. His account was called Bullet the time he called me it, but I was just saying maybe communities should take account for like who's doing what in their community, and he called me a bootlicker for like.
Sorry, everyone. I have to see where this man is. Insane. Hello? Hello.
Chill. We had our own community, and there wasn't fucking
If
news
we could-
reporters.
If we could go
Okay.
back to that, I would, but I would like to keep the anti-Semitism.
Alright, I'm
Really,
back.
that's really freed
Sorry
me.
about that. What did I miss? I was just calling lethal because I'm trying to see where this man is, and I think I think he's not coming.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Sorry,
Yeah.
bro. I got caught up at the
Yeah.
economy. Surprise training.
Yeah,
Sorry, bro. I was
something like
practicing.
that. I don't know.
Caught
Man.
up on the
I don't know what he's doing. So what were we talking about?
I was
Sorry about that,
practicing infringing rights.
Infringing. whose
We're
rights?
still doing introduction.
Okay.
We got sidetracked. My bad.
No, you're good.
My-
Man.
Who hasn't gone?
Has Big Cat?
I
gone?
haven't.
Oh, go for it. Police brutality.
Okay, so I am ifunny.co user police brutality archive. I have 6.1k subscribers, and I don't care for a single one of them. I'm not here for clout. Salary.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
You too. Not special.
Only people with clout say they're not.
You're like Keepster, bro. I don't care about the fans.
I'm just doing this to spread information.
Dude, you sound like a 14-year-old Keemstar, bro, honestly.
Yep.
I don't mean to be a dick, but I need to point that out.
Alex is a.
Alex is the one doing this.
Don't say the N-word.
Yep, he said the famous N-word for
The,
Keemstar.
the famous.
That's the most well-known N-word
N-
on YouTube, for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean PewDiePie's.
What about no ads? Is that a more well-known N-word on YouTube?
Who is that? No ads?
No ad revenue.
Oh, I thought you guys
Oh,
were.
I've
I
never
thought you
heard
guys
of
were talking about like people saying the N-word in the most famous case of it.
Oh no, I just made a cringe LARP.
I think PewDiePie had a more famous one.
PewDiePie was
PewDiePie is
PewDiePie's
definitely the
N-word
most
was
famous
kind of
recent.
bad. Not gonna lie.
You
It
know,
was-
I
It's
didn't I didn't watch him before that. And then I like gained a massive
Yes,
amount respect for him.
You
saying
gained
that.
respect
He
for him
became-
after he said that, dude.
You're like,
Yeah.
what? You're like,
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck? I love PewDiePie now.
I honestly, unironically was, and then he became like the the head of
Yeah.
Reddit or whatever. So
No, he's
I had
pretty
to
much like
bandwagon.
pretty much a Reddit user.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's personally not funny, but I think the stuff
He
he
just
derives
uses
is
them for content.
yeah. But he also like that seeps into his regular humor.
Yeah.
And he,
Didn't
plays
he
it
do
off.
like a whole episode on iFunny?
No.
I thought he did something. He did something on iFunny, or at least he had a YouTube video that featured
He's
iFunny.
used memes from my phone.
Let's continue with this introduction.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. We just got
It's fun.
sidetracked. That's all. Who didn't go? Was
I
it?
haven't gone yet.
Go for it, Apor.
So I'm Apor / Race War, depending on which account you know me on. Right now I have 6,500 followers. My stance is that there are no good police officers. That all of them are bad, or I don't want to say evil because evil is subjective to your morality, but they're bad.
But how come you think they're all
In my-
bad? Like, what makes you say that?
Well, their job is to like blindly follow the rules. Like you can't have like any kind of personal like ethic code when you're a police officer. Like you have to follow the rule of law to the T. And
Even if
Yeah.
the circumstances.
by doing that, you're giving up
should-
your personal autonomy.
Yeah. Even
What
though
was that?
the circumstances should like probably waive some laws, they still have to follow their rule set. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Even if like the thing is like police officers, they have to do it. Like that's what they signed up to do.
Yeah.
And like when you're following orders, like this could go for like the military as well. Like I don't think the military is like there's many good people in that, but
Well, I have something to say about that, but
if you're
finish.
enforcing the law like without like your own perspective and like ignoring like unlawful or not unlawful their laws, but like unrealistic and like tyrannical laws, and like you're a bad person for doing that. And that's what all police officers do.
Abe, it's funny you say that because I think I stand like a similar train of thought to you, but somehow on the completely opposite end of the spectrum. I somehow, for some reason, have some level of respect for the fact that police officers have to give off their personal autonomy in order to, follow the rules and keep everybody in line. But my problem is that they don't. And then they go and take the law into their own hands, and when somebody tries to do the right thing, they get fucking outed and lose their job as a cop, and that's why there are no good cops. But as far as the military goes, in the United States, 80% of people who join the military never see combat, so they can't really do super evil about that. They're just part of an institution that employs them. My aunt is in the military. She's a super
the
high
police
rank.
is different than the military. I just gave the military as an example of like that kind of like rule following group of people.
Yeah, but isn't that like kind of isn't like having a set of rules follow a good thing? Like, isn't that why half of iFunny
Depends
really
on
like
the rules.
being religious and stuff?
That 100% depends on the rules. If they're good rules, then it's good to follow them. Like if I make a rule that we have to like kill babies, that's not a good rule. Following that rule is not good.
People just like structure.
Yeah, people will
absolutely.
conform to structure. That's why we have a society.
That's why we live in a society.
Stupid idiots. I'm an Anprim. You live in a society.
You know, like, it's funny you say that, though, because I do feel that society does need rules. Like, I don't mean to keep saying society like we're a bunch of fucking jokers or whatever, but, I mean, I do think society needs, like, a set, like, law. It needs something written to enforce it, you know, and keep us all, like, from, because, you know, hey, if the chips fall down, you know, we as people are just pretty screwed. So we will do screwed up things. It's not to say everybody is like messed up
That's
in the
only
head,
if
but
we
like,
don't have the community.
yeah,
If we have a community of people around us, like we'll behave properly. The thing is, like with our society, I don't want to like go off on like the gang weed thing. Like I hate that it's like a meme that to say society nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like really
It's stupid. It's
problematic.
like, what other word can you use? But
Yeah,
like,
it's like an incel kind of thing to say.
I hate that
society,
that's
like,
what got
society now.
kept out of the gang weed resurgence. I would have been much better with everybody saying gang weed all the time.
Drain gang.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
DG for life, man.
But you know,
Anyways, I completely lost my.
Did we finish introductions?
I think we did.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, April, where you were saying like how oh shit, what were you saying?
I was
You were
saying
saying-
like something about society and how if we have a community, then we won't like behave like complete
like a bunch of
anarchists
animals
without morals.
I mean, as long as everybody
And the
sticks
problem
together,
is
is what you're saying.
yeah, as long as there's some kind of like agreement and trust within your community, then
You know, that sounds a
you're
lot
good,
like
but-
anarchism. Like without the need of government, just a community that understands each other.
Dude, the
Well,
government is just anarchy with extra steps.
No, because anarchy is just like unorganized
Doesn't-
violence for the sake of. Oh, I know it's a joke, but like still, we've been saying. But anarchy is kind of like unorganized violence for the sake of a cause, like just cause enough come up and.
Actually, that's not what anarchy is. Anarchy
But
is when a group of people or a community basically just says, fuck having a government or having someone above us. They're doing communism without having a leader, is what it is.
Oh, do you mean anarchism? My
yeah,
bad.
anarchism. Yeah.
I
That's
thought you were
basically
talking about the
anarchism
actual
versus
word.
anarchy.
Yeah. Sorry, not anarchy. Anarchism.
Okay.
Yeah, anarchism though. Anarchism, I used to think that was actually a viable idea, until I kind of realized, I don't think that's something that can ever happen, because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be some bad apple who's gonna like ruin it for everybody else, like no matter what.
And because people like form, also. So
Exactly.
the government is a form.
Exactly, because anarchism at the end of the day is only gonna work if everybody is like super like well in tune with each other, or like
It's a perfect world.
yeah, it's a
It'll
perfect
work.
reality.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting along, all that good stuff, and that's just not how it is.
Yeah, that's just not how it
How's
works.
that different from libertarianism then?
Libertarianism?
Because libertarianism is like leave me alone. It's not like you're part of a group and inclusive.
I mean, it's
Well,
government.
no, it's the lack of government, right? So like, how do you when entailing that?
It's
wouldn't-
not lack, it's
wouldn't entail the
less.
thing?
Libertarianism is like anarchism light. Like it's just you have
Yeah, that's
government
true.
still, but
It's
I mean,
less. It's not
way
like
less than like your normal government.
Not like what we have now.
I
yeah.
don't think we should take libertarians seriously. It's a
I don't think we
childish
should
ideology.
either. I don't think anyone should take a libertarian serious. Because I
What's
don't.
wrong
Dude,
with
do you need a
fire?
license to drive a car now? What is this?
a license
What's
to use
next?
your
A license
microwave?
1984?
Toast your toaster.
Man, what's wrong with libraries, bro?
You know,
I think
there's
the
hardy-
T-shirt
a hardy
might be our
kick.
mascot.
there's probably one thing that I can say that I don't entirely disagree with when it comes to libertarians, and it's probably the drug thing. Like I'm pretty sure libertarians believe that like you should legalize all drugs and just have them out in the open. And
If somebody wants to fuck up their life, let them.
yeah, exactly. Like that's my stance
I
on that.
could
If some-
understand that.
Because if you're legalizing it, you're taking it out of the hands of criminals. So therefore, you're stopping the drug trade. That's how we stopped speakeasies in the 30s. Because
Well, no, you're not. It's not taking it out of the hands of criminals. You're just
Yeah, because you're just
Yeah, you're
those-
putting
the same people still have it. It's just that you're not calling them criminals.
well, I mean, if you put it in like an actual controlled business, like if you sold heroin in like a Walmart, just an example. Like I'm not saying that'll ever happen, but like if you put
Sorry, CVS.
Yeah,
CVS. If you like sold heroin in like CVS, I mean, what would be the need of having like a drug dealer?
I think we should legalize all drugs.
Yeah.
The only problem I see with it is that, obviously PCP and stuff like that, or bath salts and make you eat people's faces off, things like that.
That's fair. That's very fair. But you
Pretty
know,
right.
like, I don't
I
know.
used to be very on board with the idea of like legalize all drugs, but like I've recently, come to the realization that there are things that are just bad for the well-being of society as a whole, and I don't think we should really. I mean, maybe there's a possibility that like legalizing drugs can like work out to be some utopia.
I
But
think it would.
You
I think it would do
shouldn't
more harm than
encourage.
good.
Yeah,
Or
I
I
think
think
it would
I'd-
do harm.
There's a good chance that if you legalize all drugs, it would probably create a humongous gap, an even bigger
A lot of
gap
people do
between
it
the
just to
poor and the
defy the
rich.
government.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, oh, you don't tell me what to do, type thing. And if it's
Exactly.
legal and everybody's doing it, they're probably going to be less likely to do it.
That's very true. I mean, if you legalize all drugs, you should just treat it like alcohol. Like, you should put a big, disclaimer above it saying like, hey, don't do this with
And
it.
like
You
cigarettes
can
as
still
well.
buy it, you can still take it. Just don't do this set, list of things with it. If you
You should
control
stop
it
it.
like alcohol, then it should dampen the effect. But I mean, that's just my view on it, honestly. It's not the best idea to deal with it, but honestly, it's the only
Yeah,
way that I
monkeys.
can think of it.
Talking.
I don't know, dude. Alcohol still ravages the country, and people don't talk
the
about it
country was
because
made by
opioid.
alcoholics.
Yeah, it was, but like people don't really talk about it because opioids are the big thing that's
Yeah.
killing more
Pretty
people.
much.
But like alcohol creates like the heaviest addictions, and it tears families apart and makes people violent. Like I don't see.
Exactly.
I don't think it's a good thing. I think people can enjoy it in moderation, like you can with everything.
Yeah.
But legitimately, nothing stops anybody from like just overdoing it all the.
Exactly.
And it happens so frequently. Everybody knows somebody whose parents are drunk.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, my dad is a drunk, or he was actually, but he got back in prison because of it. So
Oh shit, man. Sorry.
I don't.
kind of
Yeah.
fucked him up.
seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
but-
this exact conversation is what led to Lethal saying that he was gonna report me to the FBI.
Really?
Because Big Cat, you said your uncle put your dad away because your uncle's a cop.
My uncle's a cop. And
I joked and I said you should kill him because that's my big stand. Right?
Yeah.
And Lethal's like, no, I'm a bad data reporter.
That's-
You two are conspiring to
I'm
murder.
gonna report that.
I'm gonna report.
But I mean, like it kind of goes back to what I was
Unless you're
saying,
leaving a
though.
box at someone's front door saying it's a bomb.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's not a call to action at all. We were not conspiring.
Y'all are just
He's
joking.
literally just like, at most, it was a suggestion.
Yeah, at the most,
That's
it's
not
a
actually-
warning sign. You can't act on it.
Like Razor,
Yeah,
you knew
absolutely.
he was kidding, right? Or you knew he was like,
Yeah, I know.
I
course
am
not.
kidding. I think I should say that.
I wouldn't
please
kill
FBI,
my
if you're
uncle.
listening to this,
What the heck?
don't do anything to the game or Gaim. I mean, sorry.
Gaim.
It's not my real name. I really don't care how you pronounce it.
What is your real name?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't
It's your
realize.
real name to us.
That is your real name, my guy.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine, man.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Yep.
If we turn like cameras on, we turn into real people, don't we?
Oh, God, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that.
I mean, we're hiding behind pictures. Right?
Well, that's me.
So-
That's my
That is
profile
definitely
picture.
Big Cat. Big Cat's Von Miller.
Yeah,
Plays
definitely.
Okay, well then for all you know, that is me behind that helmet in
What
my
the-
picture.
Power Rangers? What is it? Is that
Close.
Power Rangers?
I'm not gonna. No, it's Are you cool? This is gonna take like 15 seconds. Are you cool with me just going off on a small and related tangent of what this
Yeah,
is?
sure, man.
After that, we should go into police brutality.
Yeah,
then.
Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
But my profile pic is the company that made Power Rangers, Toei.
Mhm.
They're a Japanese company that they do like a lot of superhero sort of stuff like Power Rangers. It's a sister series to that. Is the character guy.
What's it
Oh,
called?
what's it called?
Kamen Rider. KAMEN.
I feel like
Rider.
I've heard that.
You probably
I
have.
think
It's been
I have.
adapted it's been adapted to
I've
English
seen
a
it
couple times.
before.
It's
I've heard that somewhere.
yeah, it's kind of cheesy and corny, Power Rangers, but I
But,
grew up with
like-
it. I was exposed to it from young, so it kind of just influenced me a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, Power Rangers was the shit when I was a kid, especially Space Rangers. That was the best.
Oh, dude, I fucking love Rangers. When they met the Ninja Turtles, bro, holy
Christ. Yo, when they had Zach on here with, we were talking about that, dude. Zach is like the funniest man alive.
who's Zach?
Zach the First. You ever heard of him?
Oh, okay, Zach.
Yeah.
All right.
He was talking about that whole video he did with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and like going into his whole process of that was the most insane thing, because he's just a guy with autism. That's all it is.
Mhm.
There's no real like
Dude, I've
secret to it.
I've met a lot of cool autistic people on the, but I've never met a cool autistic person in real life. Is that mean of me to say?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, because like autistic people on the internet tend to be like a lot more exposed to things, or they know how to talk better compared to like people in real life, autistic people in real life. Like,
All right, I keep doing tangents.
no, you're fine, man.
Police-
You're so fine. But I was gonna ask a question to Razor. Razor, are you there, man?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, what do you think, being that you're a massive Blue Line supporter, what do you think about everything that's going on with this, man? Like, I'm not talking about like, current events like the virus or whatever, but like, this whole thing with police brutality, these occasions of where they're like ganging up on like unarmed people and like beating the shit out of them with like 7 cops.
Well, first off, I think that the media is definitely a big problem and plays a factor in that. They tend to blow things out of proportion, but I definitely don't support police brutality myself. I support police, but not police brutality, of course. And there's definitely bad officers out there, but
It's content.
They're just
God.
exceptions to the rule.
yeah, like there's bad people in every line of work. There's not, you go to Walmart, you're gonna run into some bitchy Walmart employee who doesn't
That's
do their
fair.
job right.
Yeah, but that's my
in every
issue.
line of work.
This police shouldn't have any bad eggs in it. I feel like there should be
Yeah,
more
well,
fucking.
Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't that be the
in a
top of the
perfect
line
world,
for
there'd be
people?
no
Yeah.
bad cops. It's definitely something that it's not only on the executive branch, but it's on the judicial, because you see all these officers who 100% did something wrong. They
Get
did
away
shoot another
scot-free every
man
time.
or stuff
2
like
weeks
that, and they get off
vacation.
scot-free. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the judicial branch that has a big part in it as well. It's not just the departments and stuff themselves.
I don't entirely disagree, but the like power trip that's come with
There's
modern
definitely
police
people with
standard.
power trips. No
It's
doubt.
not. I'm not saying every cop is a bad person, but like I've seen so many videos of like cops just being content with shit happening right in front of them. Like it's not. I'm not saying
Yeah, where
every
they
cop
just
is
watch,
bad when
their partner beat
they
the
just
shit out
watch-
of a guy and stuff like that.
two or three guys hold down
Yeah.
someone who walking their dog who just happened to be 5 feet too close to whatever they're doing, and then the other cops don't say shit. Like, oh yeah,
Stand there
they
and
got
let
it,
happen, or just act like it's not even happening.
or they just gang up like an army.
Yeah,
To
I
dispel
personally
spring
think
breakers.
those who just stand there and like watch their fellow officer beat the shit out of someone who's like done nothing wrong at all, or I think it was just recently there was a case where a cop kicked a dude in the head. He was like handcuffed on the ground already, and he tried to defend himself, saying that he wasn't going to write it in the report and things like that. If you're going to stand there and watch one of your own guys beat the shit out of another man, you're not a man. You're just as bad as he is, even though you say you didn't do
exactly.
it, you're just as
man.
bad.
I think that's too bad. Like that's
Like,
mainly my issue with
Like,
cops.
it
Like
feels like there's
if
such a...
if police brutality was like 1 in 1,000, but it got reported and the cops who did it got punished every time, I wouldn't even think this is an issue, no matter what the disproportion it is to black people or how close it is to my area. Like, I wouldn't think that's an issue, but it goes unchecked every single time, and it just
Exactly.
makes me so fucking violently angry.
Like it feels like there's such a like an inherent brotherhood with cops that they let it actually get to their head. Like, oh my god, I see this
It's
guy like actually fucking up somebody who doesn't really deserve it, but I see him doing it anyway. So I'm just not gonna say anything, cause I mean he's my brother. We're brothers in this uniform and badge type of deal.
Ape, what are you saying?
almost like a cult.
Oh god, Ape Wars. Yeah, I think Ape Wars audio is messed up. Ape War, leave the call and come back if you can. This has happened before. This happened last time. But what were you saying, Razor?
Wow. Oh, never mind.
No,
Well,
you know.
a lot of people. I mean, I guess I could consider it that police are like their own gang in a sort. They have their own type of morals and code.
Mm.
All right. I'm
Obviously,
glad
they're
you.
gonna treat someone who is a cop a lot better. It actually happens in my city. I hear of it all the time. And, it definitely pisses me off because I wish I was in some sort of position to do something about it, but I'm not, of course. And I'm not going to try to step out of my league to do something because I know I'm not going to be able to.
It's I'm glad you said that. The thing about them being a gang. Police have an absolute legal monopoly on violence, and
Oh, definitely.
so often that and
Oh, definitely.
so often cops will if police brutality is happening, or like a cop is treating you unjustly, or like a plainclothes officer is harassing and you fight back justifiably,
That just gets you in more trouble.
that gets you in more trouble. But also, like, in 15 seconds the fucking firing squad is going to be there.
Yeah.
And you're either going to the hospital or you're going to die. But you call response for like somebody broke into my house and you're waiting 7 to 15 minutes for anybody to show up. You might as well do it yourself.
Yeah, but the minute you say, you got a gun and you're ready to defend yourself, they'll be there in like 2 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
And you're going to jail. The guy turned his back. So
actually, I think it was in New York. I'm not sure how close it was to me because I'm in New York right now. I absolutely hate it here, for the record.
Well, where in New York are you?
I'm in upstate.
Which part of the upstate?
He wants your address, bro.
No, I don't want your address because I'm in the
Ted
upstate too.
Kaczynski?
I'm by Oneida and all that.
Okay, I'm up in Saratoga, so
almost
we're like
smack dab
40
in the
minutes
middle.
apart. We're like 40 minutes apart.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
Guy's gonna
I'm
go
like
over there
smack
and
dab.
beat your ass, Razor. I'm sorry.
No. I do respect. You seem level-headed, and you have fair, like, valid points, no matter what we disagree about. You're not lethal, dude. If I asked Lethal where he lived and he lived in upstate New York, I'd probably go to jail.
Razor,
Like,
can
are
you
you
tell me
asking?
It's about the first clip in Monkey's ad for this podcast.
The killer on floor 32 or whatever that is.
That's where the cop literally just made him
shot him
play
when he had his
time.
hands up on his knees.
Yeah, he was literally just
Yeah.
making him all the instructions when he could have just said, "Hey, put your hands up," and then he could have just walked over
And that
and
was a
cuffed him.
drunk guy
Right.
too. He was
No,
giving
there
like
was
40
three
different
cops. There was
instructions.
3 or 4 cops there yelling
Yeah.
different instructions.
Yeah, no, they had like a whole SRT team there.
And the guy's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
drunk.
What
He
do you-
doesn't know what's going on.
What do you think about that, Razor? Or what can you say
I know
about
I
that?
like researched it a little bit a while ago. I watched the video. I don't remember it exactly. It's been a while, but I know definitely that cop who shot him was definitely. He was on. I don't want to say a power trip because it's not the right thing. It's not like he was abusing his power. He was just looking for a reason to shoot him. Like he wanted to kill him for whatever reason that would be.
He was like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be hailed as a hero if I shoot this guy."
I think he
'cause-"
should have been definitely.
No, dude, he was fearing for his life, obviously.
Yeah,
Exactly.
clearly he was fearing for his life.
He was fearing,
I think
bro.
he definitely should have. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. I'm gonna guess he
But
got
wasn't
scot free.
Wasn't that like a swatting incident?
He had two other.
Something like that.
I think he was
Like,
pointing a
supposedly an
BB gun
active
out the window, and somebody
Yeah.
called the cops on him.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, the cops didn't know that it was a BB gun. Oh, whatever. But even still,
He didn't have it in the hallway when
Yeah,
they
he
showed
didn't
up.
have
and
it.
they started
Yes,
commanding
he
around.
It
didn't
was very
have
clear
it.
in the video there.
And they knew that he was laying down. It would have been exposed because he didn't have it in his hands. His hands were up and he was laying down.
He was literally
would have seen
I
it.
remember watching the video.
begging
and I
for
was
them to
horrified
not
by
shoot
it.
them.
Absolutely.
It was horrible.
It was definitely a screw up on his part, and he should be in jail, in my opinion, for murder, because it was definitely like
I
Definitely
think
intentional.
It was
I
literally
think he
clear
should get
cut
a
murder.
life sentence for that.
I think
Clear
that
cut.
officer in his head, he was like, I got a complete reason to shoot him right now. You know, I could totally shoot him and get away with it.
I want to
the-
go back to Native
he went with
American
that.
tradition, where like if you kill somebody in my family, I have 48 hours to kill you. I think that's the only way
But
we
it's
can police.
crazy how the government
The only
literally
problem I
defended
see
that
with
man.
that is that it's going to lead to feuds and
Yeah,
it's just gonna be back
why
and
would
forth
he
killing
be
for
acquitted?
ages
So?
until everybody's dead.
Is it though? Because eventually someone will become fucking Shao Kahn and stay on the top, and the cycle's
my
gonna
God.
end.
Maybe eventually.
But that he literally got acquitted. Like nothing even
Yeah.
happened to him.
No
He got
charges,
acquitted.
nothing. He quit.
For
Which
That's
I
a-
don't
that's
an
think
absolutely
innocent man who's
at
drunk
all.
out of his mind, didn't know what was going on, literally crying for his life.
Yeah.
Like, that
Was-
was just
was he
a
the deaf guy?
blatant, like an execution.
Was
Oh
he?
yeah, definitely.
Was he the deaf guy?
No, he
They
was
say,
not.
you know,
Mm.
I
Oh,
don't
he
know if
wasn't.
they did in the academy, but I know definitely. I hear a lot of officers say it. You are responsible for, you know, the bullets that come out of your gun, and whether or not, you know, they hit innocent people, or, you know, every round that comes out of your gun, you're responsible for. But in that case, that definitely wasn't it. He was not at all.
UPS driver incident.
Yeah, the UPS.
I was just about to
Oh
bring
my
God, the
God.
UPS driver
Yeah,
incident.
that was horrible.
insane.
That is what put me on
That is
in
what
my
poorly
position.
trained officers look
Fucking
like.
hiding behind his
That's
car.
what did it for you?
That's what set me over the line. Yeah, was I saw that. I was in that happened in what, Baltimore, right?
More than
I
Miami.
think so.
Highway.
Happened in
That
Miami.
was
Okay.
dumb.
No, I was in Baltimore then. I was going to college over by that area, and I remember I saw it live on the news. I went to Goucher College. It's not a great place, and I'm very glad I transferred out of there. But
I mean, what do you expect?
yeah, but I saw that live with my friends, and my friend Cole, he was like, he's avidly anti-cop like I am, and he sort of just like ran me through the ringer about all the shit that I'm pretty much saying now.
Right.
Because before I was kind of like, yeah, cops fuck up sometimes to do their jobs, and the idea of that is enough. But then, you know, and then I subbed to like Police Brutality Archive, and then I started seeing shit on YouTube and the news. And, one of my
Then you're like,
friends'
"Fuck this."
uncles actually was a victim of police brutality like 4 months ago, like around the time it happened, and it all happened at once. So it kind of set me.
Really? What happened to him?
He was profiled as because somebody robbed a liquor store. Razor, do you know where Schenectady is?
Yeah, I know where Schenectady is.
Somebody robbed a liquor store in Schenectady, and my friend's uncle, the call went out, you know, like 6'2" black man, black hoodie, whatever. He got profiled as the guy who did it and stopped and harassed, and he fought back a little bit because he just wasn't having it, and he got like shot in the chest 3 times, died on the spot.
Jeez.
Wow. Oh my God.
And like that I heard about that like 2 days after the the UPS
Yeah,
thing.
the UPS incident.
and I started looking into it, and I started getting told all the shit, and the world kind of just collapsed for me for like a week, and I realized, like, holy shit, there's a very good possibility I'm the only person who can ever guarantee myself.
Yeah, no, I
That's very
definitely
true.
agree. I think we should have a police force, but at the same time, you know, you should be responsible for your own safety and security. You know, you shouldn't expect to jump off a cliff and live, and expect, you know, someone to catch you. You shouldn't expect that.
Absolutely.
I'm all for gun rights, of course. I'm not that Second Amendment butt guy. I think there should be no laws on firearms, of course.
Oh, me too.
I think the
absolutely.
ones we have now, we should already have started a revolution over, because it is absolutely absurd, especially in, you know, here in New York and California. It's real bad.
Dude,
Reminds me of living in a,
when these
you know, the
Trump
UK.
bucks roll in, I might have to drive to a state to get a. I might have to like fucking drive
I
to.
plan on getting
get
out
a-
of New York when I get the chance, because of all the
Do you
Democrats
guys
here.
think
shit
that
more-
all this? Sorry to cut you off, Razor. Like, you go ahead. You can go ahead, man. If you want to say something.
No, that was finished. You're good.
But I was gonna say, like, do you guys think that this whole like virus thing is gonna lead to, you know, I don't know, some Mad Max shit? Like some.
I
No.
think
I
the
hope.
idea of Mad Max is terrifying. I think we can maybe like Book of Eli or something, but with cars. I don't know.
I
Kinda
hope
like,
something happens. The
Like some
world's
kind
been
of
stagnant
collapse.
too long. Yeah, I hope something happens.
I mean, shoot, man, because the way the economy is, like, bro,
It's up
getting
and
bad.
down,
It's
real
getting
bad.
bad. Like, we're getting
I
to Great Depression
We're
levels.
getting into a depression.
Oh yeah, we're hitting
We're
hitting
heading
the
there, man. And I
terrible.
think that if things go down, if things get worse with this virus than they already are right now, we're probably gonna get to a point where, like, okay,
Yeah.
this is an apocalypse.
I think okay, so
2020's the year, man. It's
like
nothing crazy.
7.3 or like 7.6 or something like that percent the American population works for the federal government, right? And I think if we have some like overthrow or whatever, that and if it happens during this whole virus or whatever, they keep pushing buttons and we overthrow the government or whatever, that unemployment's just gonna fucking shoot through the roof, and we're gonna full tilt into revolution.
But yeah, we're gonna have
Shit's
another
gonna change.
1920s. Only it's gonna be 100 years later.
Oh
Okay.
shit, that's
Hold on,
prophetic.
guys. I actually just found another cop. Let me get him in here. This guy is an actual cop. He's
Another
not like Lethal, who
And who's
yeah,
Is he a cop on iFunny?
yeah, he's an actual police officer. I think he said he's been a cop for
Is
Is
like
he
Yeah.
on?
6 years.
Is he on iFunny though?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Oh
He is
man.
indeed on iFunny.
Welcome.
Hello?
Hello.
Is that you, my man? Hey,
The King George.
it is.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
is that
George
Trump?
himself. Sorry about that. I didn't think this was gonna happen. I had a feeling
that is-
that we were gonna like have somebody missing, but I just didn't think it'd be Lethal. I thought Lethal was a shoo-in to come on, but Lethal actually like bailed out. But sorry to like call you so inconveniently, my guy. We just needed a police
No,
officer. We needed police officers' views on here.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like I said, that somebody in the academy wasn't the best option anyway because they're not going to have the experience.
Hmm.
They're just going to know what
How
they've
much
been taught, but
experience
they're
do you
never going
have?
to have 6.5 years. I'm sheriff's
Ooh.
deputy in Missouri, and I graduated law enforcement academy at the end of 2013.
Okay.
So then I want to ask you the same thing I asked the others earlier. Are you aware with that video of the shooting where the guy is just given instructions by the police officers, but like it's 3 different instructions at the same time while there's guns pointed at him?
Mind you, this guy was drunk.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh yes, yeah. Adam Shaver. Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
Hmm.
or Daniel Shaver. I know that video. Yeah, that's one of the videos that we've gone over in our technicals because we have to have 24 hours of training every year, and we break that up through drug enforcement training, de-escalation tactics, firearms, that kind of thing. It's just we do it when we get the opportunity through the Sheriff's Association of Missouri. So yeah, I've seen that video. It's one of the things that we use in our tacticals on what to avoid.
Two questions right off the bat. Hi, by the way. I don't know your name, but I'm iFunny user Guy. I'm the radical anti-cop here. Two questions. How in depth is that de-escalation training, and is it like nationwide? Is it all the same, or is it like department?
So we in Missouri we have what's called critical incident training, and that's a state function, and it's determined. It's the instructors are hired by the state. They usually work for DFS or social services, and they have degrees in mental health, and they know how to deal with people with mental health. The training is in depth as you care to pay attention. I won't deny that the standards to keep our licenses are pretty low because every state is struggling to maintain a police force, but nobody wants to do the job anymore. And if you're a dedicated person, like myself and a lot of my brothers in blue, you will take the time to sit there and listen to that for 10, 15, 20 hours. You'll put it to practice. You'll use it. You will use it in your day-to-day life. You'll make sure that you're, approaching situations with people with mental illness a lot differently than you would in other situations. A big problem with that is it's very difficult sometimes to determine the difference between drug use and mental illness, because people who are strung out on meth are virtually indistinguishable from paranoid schizophrenics off their medication. And the way you're going to deal with one is going to be radically different than the other. And police are humans too. They're going to make mistakes.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
My name's JT, but my username on iFunny is King Xerxes.
Yes, I know. That was, dude. You kind of just came out of nowhere, to be honest with you, because like I was looking for an atheist for the next episode, and then you happened to say that you were a cop. I was like, oh, wow, I might just have to bring this guy on. But I didn't want to bring you on immediately just because we had so many people already at the time. But with Lethal gone, who just decided to fuck off somewhere. I don't know where he went.
Dude, he'll never recover from
that.
by the way.
He's not coming back. Yeah, I don't know why he became so butthurt over it, but
we're gonna bully the shit out of him until he.
I have a Discord server with about 200 people in it, and we host debates on particular subjects. I've had more than one person flake out on me and basically just toss in the trash 2-3 weeks of preparation and advertisements.
Wow.
So I'm used to the feeling. Yeah.
That's great.
That's awful. But I think one thing that I was. Oh no, you can go ahead, man.
Okay. Mr. King Xerxes of Scotland the Fourth.
Bro.
Xerxes, sorry. JT. Okay. You seem, by the way you talk about stuff, very. I want to use the right words because I don't want to get you seem very in-depth, detail-oriented, good at what you do, or at least dedicated to it. But among your brothers in blue, or any other student we might use, what is like do you see anybody being like lackadaisical about their training or not taking the law properly? How frequent have you seen that?
There are two kinds of people who get into this line of work. The kind of people who want to raise others up and the kind of people who want to raise themselves up. It is the latter half of that category that you often hear about on the news. Those people are in it for themselves because they got bullied in high school and they want to take a little authority back. And I think the best way to do that is to start around.
Oh, thank
you.
I'm so happy you said that.
They were either bullied or they wore the
police department.
I'd like to file a claim.
When I was a supervisor, I used to work for a municipality. I currently.
Okay.
No, I work for a sheriff's office now. I used to work for a municipality. When I worked for a municipality, I was a supervisor. I was a corporal.
That's a cool word.
And I had 4 guys that were directly under me on my rotation, and we patrolled. We would patrol for 2 nights, then 3 nights, then 2 nights, then 3 nights, and we'd have the intermissions off. So every other weekend we'd have like 3 days off and whatnot, and almost 3 days off, at least once a month. My guys and I, we would go and we would do training. Right, it was a requirement for anybody on my shift to go and train at least once a month, 10 hours. We did firearms training. We did de-escalation training. It was one of our big ones. We did driving training. EVOC is very important because people get those lights and sirens on and think they can just take curves at 125 miles an hour. Sorry, the woo-woo lights don't change physics. So you need to learn how to fucking drive if you want to get involved in pursuits and not wreck the hell out. I've had like 2 guys drown police cars because they don't know how to take curves.
Yeah, you know what happened, right? You know what happened, right? They posted a picture of their police cruiser on iPhone.
Oh, the car curse.
Funny car curse.
Yeah, funny car curse.
Funny car curse.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is that a lot of police officers are, currently anyways, discouraged from actively advertising their profession on social media because it can make them a target for unwarranted violence.
Do you think
I can't tell you how many times I've had.
Sorry, but do you think that's why so many cops are on edge nowadays because of the current environment?
Absolutely. I can't go to a drive-through without pulling my gun out of my holster and keeping it in my lap because I never know if someone's going to come up behind my rearview mirror and shoot me.
Jesus.
It's happened multiple times. One of the most tragic stories I remember hearing is back I think in 2014 or 15. A sergeant with the Cleveland Police Department was at McDonald's, and the last thing he ever did in life was buy a little homeless boy a Happy Meal. And then he goes and takes his food and sits down in his car, and somebody comes up behind and shoots him in the head while
I
he's
think I
sitting in his
remember
car
that
eating.
story.
Wow.
Wasn't there a video
Yeah.
of him in the McDonald's?
Yes, there was.
Yeah, I
And
seen that.
that resonates deeply with me. Like I said, I'm a police officer in Missouri, a law enforcement officer in Missouri. Just last week, or the week before last, we had an officer death in Springfield, Missouri. Christopher Walsh was shot and killed in an active shooting incident in Springfield in the middle of the city. And he had been a police officer for, just 3 years. And I remember seeing on the news they were towing his police car away, because he'd been shot up. And that's just that police car getting towed away resonates so deeply with myself and everybody else in this profession, because it really can just be all taken away from you like that. And it does put a lot of us on edge. There was a time when I first got out of the academy where I was a little bit more complacent. I didn't expect that anybody I talked to was just going to want to shoot me. But now I can't walk up to a car without considering that they've probably got a gun in their lap and they might pull the trigger as soon as I show my face. And so everything that I do, I'm hyper focused when I'm out and
So you're
doing
saying
things in my day to day. A big problem that I've noticed, especially in modern culture, is that people think it's conducive to argue with the police. The police are not judges, right? We are executors, so we take care of a matter as quickly and as efficiently
Oh, I don't
as
like
we
that
can
word.
in that moment. And then if you believe yourself to be innocent of the charges, you take that up with a judge. But arguing with us or fighting with us on the executors, not executors, executors.
I was just making a joke.
No, yeah,
Yes,
we're
yes,
executors.
that
but
put me a
It's the
little
theme
on
of
edge.
the
we are an
episode.
extension. Police officers are an extension of the executive branch. We enforce the laws that are passed down. All right. I personally think that if you don't agree with the laws that are in place, you shouldn't enforce them. And I practice that. So there are, we have a lot of discretion out on the road. Contrary to popular belief, very rarely are you ever compelled to take action as a law enforcement officer, which it can be a good thing, but it more often than not becomes more of a problem because people will do that for the benefit of their friends, and they will employ a degree of nepotism, which makes other people feel cheated, as opposed to, okay,
Very much.
I'm not going to touch that.
That's
But
a different.
You don't have to. We will.
That's a different episode.
if you have certain principles, right, and you adhere to those principles, and you believe a certain law to be unjust, then you should consistently refuse to comply with that law. For example, for the longest time in my state, it used to be the law that you had to have a permit to conceal carry a firearm, but that changed in the year 2017. But for the majority of the first half of my career as a law enforcement officer, people had to have a permit to carry a firearm concealed. I never personally enforced that. If you had a concealed weapon on you and you told me about it, I didn't take action. I wouldn't even ask you if you had a permit, because personally to me, your permit is the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States.
Agreed.
Agreed.
That that acknowledges and protects your right to carry a firearm, and regardless of the state ordinance, you should be allowed to do that. I don't believe in a state that restricts that right. I'm also not big on drug enforcement. Outside of hardcore narcotics and opioids like heroin and oxy and cocaine, I'm not too particularly concerned if you have psychedelics in your car or if you have weed in your car.
Hey, appreciate that, man.
Like that's not something that I concern myself with, because it's frankly not. If I arrest you for smoking marijuana, I have produced no positive impact in the community. All I've done is create more strife with the citizenry, because it truly is unjustifiable to go and arrest people for having a quarter ounce of a plant in their pocket. It makes no sense. Some people don't care. They're just soldiers following orders, and they're the ones that paint a bad light on the rest of us.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Hold on. I think police brutality had a question. Police brutality?
Hold on, wait. I can't. Who? Someone was talking first. It's my job to what?
I think police brutality had a question.
Yeah, just finish up, whatever. It's fine.
Oh,
He said just finish your question. It's your job to follow those unjust rules, is what he was saying.
It's actually my job to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and the people and the citizens of Missouri. That's my job. Everything else is just
Wasn't
details.
it just ruled that that's actually not true?
Right. But there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't smoke weed. I fully agree with and abide by everything in the Constitution of the United States.
okay.
All right, JT, I have to say, I very much respect you as a person for the stances you've taken and the openness you've had with us. But as a civilian, hearing that from a police officer does make me a little worried. Not for anything you've said about how you would take action for anything, but how any other police officer could carry that sort of mindset, because some of the things you said about not following the stuff that's written, following the Constitution, whatever, that seems like a sort of lackadaisical cop out, excuse the pun, to sort of follow your own rules to a certain degree. And that really puts me on edge when I have any interaction with a cop, whether I've only ever been pulled over one time, but whether I'm just talking with the cop or whether I've been pulled over, it just seems like that can't really be managed properly, and it's horribly subjective. And I fear sometimes, like just as much as you fear, that when you come up to my window, you have to have your hand on the trigger, and if I had a weapon, would also be tense. And I don't think that comes from you or the police. Obviously, I think that comes from a stigma on both sides, so lawmakers who've corrupted the shit out of this country. But it speaks to a much deeper problem that honestly I can't put my finger on. I just want to point.
I think that police forces are a necessary instrument for a functional society, but there are states that give them an overwhelming amount of unnecessary and unjustified authority, and then there are states that don't give them a lot of authority at all. As a matter of fact, in my state, there are very few things I can actually arrest you for. For example, if I were to be driving down the road and I see you break into somebody's house and walk out with a TV, I can't arrest you. I can only issue you a court summons and go on my merry way.
What?
The laws in my state restrict police departments fairly tremendously. We have very little authority. That primarily goes for municipalities, but sheriff's offices are feeling that stinge. I mean, they've tied our hands when it comes to drug charges. Unless you're trafficking drugs in like a school zone, I can catch you with 10 pounds of meth in your car and just have to write you a summons. Prisons and jails are not wanting to take in inmates for nonviolent offenses because they can't afford to maintain the inmates, and so they're lobbying.
So this isn't
for,
because of the virus. This is just in general.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah, no, this has been going on
bail
for years.
reform and stuff like that, especially here in New York.
Yes, yeah.
Bail reform.
Lobbyists have been basically paying off politicians to restrict the hands of law enforcement and prevent us from being able to arrest people, even when it matters, even when that person needs to get off the street. Unless you can demonstrate that person is an immediate threat to the public, then you're not allowed to take them to jail.
Wow, what the hell? That's weird.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
that's my
comforting.
state.
That's comforting.
That's my state. However, there are states like California which will, arrest you for pretty much anything.
Wow, that's very true.
It depends entirely on the political schematic of the state government that you're being
It's like a
operated under.
Yeah, police brutality has a question.
Well, go ahead.
If you had the choice between serving a red flag warrant, no knock warrant, or losing your job, what would you do?
I'd toss my badge on the counter in about a heartbeat. Maybe a little quicker.
Wow,
I respect you.
Yeah, I respect that,
I
but
respect that a lot.
not many. It's just like I am like more red flag warrants have been served here than in any other state combined.
Say again.
More red flag warrants have been served in Florida than any other state combined, and that's where I am. So I wish.
And that's a knee-jerk reaction to the Parkland shooting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys already heard the story of the guy who was killed in his sleep over that nonsense.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Aaron
Yeah.
Till?
Couple times.
When I hear shit like that, it makes me seriously question which side I'm going to be on when the boogaloo happens. Not if the
Agreed.
boogaloo happens, when the
When it
boogaloo
happens.
happens.
Oh,
You're a
When,
big-
yeah.
You're
There's
right.
bait.
Like I'm not about to sit here and fight against the people that I swore an oath to protect. That's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Appreciate
I'm
that,
I'm
man.
never going to
And
directly violate the oath that I took when I swore to uphold the Constitution, because somebody who got swayed by the tweets of teenagers decided that it was better to strip the rights of innocent American citizens than it was to actually seriously evaluate the problem and figure out a reasonable solution
See,
that
that's
didn't
fair. See,
involve
I can
trampling the
respect that.
Constitution, pissing on their rights.
Because a lot of cops would say, like, oh, I got to uphold the law, I got to enforce what the
Just
government
doing
tells
my
me to do.
job.
But if
I ain't
something
got to
like
do
that
shit.
happened,
The only thing I got to do is stay
exactly.
white and die, and the first one's optional at this point.
Stay white and die.
Exactly. Like a lot of cops will say like, "Oh, I'm just doing my job. I'm just upholding what my local politician tells me to uphold." But if the chips fell down, man, and there's no more government to tell you what to do, what what is there to fight against? At this point, if it's just everybody for themselves, you might as well just like do what you can for the good of everybody and not for the good of some jackass in a suit and tie. Like, it
Yeah,
just blows my mind.
I adhere to that. I adhere to that as best that I can. I use my discretion when I'm dealing with people because I'm not out to ruin somebody's life. I have a lot of authority. I have the power to take away people's freedom, and that is a very scary power to have. And if abused even in the slightest, could produce long-lasting negative effects for myself and everybody else who wears the badge after I do. Because when I'm interacting with people, I'm not a person, I'm a uniform. And everybody who wears the uniform is the same person as I am. So whatever interaction you have with me in uniform, you're going to carry that with you the next time you have an interaction with somebody else wearing the same uniform.
Exactly. That's fair.
And the positive reactions aren't as resonating as the negative ones. You're going to remember getting tossed around a lot longer than you'll probably remember the guy who gave you a warning even though you were doubling the speed limit.
it takes 3 or 4 positive experiences to outweigh psychology.
Right, exactly. There are 50 million some odd police encounters. I want to say a year. That doesn't sound right. There's about 800,000 sworn police officers in the United States. If we assumed that about half of them were on duty at any given time, and each and every single one of that half had exactly one encounter with a civilian every day, that's 180 some odd million police encounters per year, right? But the only ones you're going to hear about are the ones that stir controversy and sell headlines.
Exactly. That's very true.
Like just the other day, I saw a story. Police shoot black teenager in back after suspecting he stole a pizza. Like there should be a law
Mamma
against
mia.
that amount of dishonesty. What really happened was a 26-year-old black man who was a known associate of a street gang had a felony warrant out on him and was in possession of a handgun and was using it to threaten somebody in a parking lot, and he got the cops called on him. He happened to have a pizza in the left hand and a gun in the right hand when the cops showed up, and he took off running.
That's
And as
Dante
they chased
from
him-
Devil May Cry, bro.
As they chased him, he spun around and pointed the gun at him, and then they shot him. That is in no way, shape, or form police shooting a black teenager because they suspected he stole a pizza. That is utterly malicious for the news media to portray it that way, but they know that the things that will sell the best are the things that make you the angriest.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we know who runs them.
Media not trustable.
Yeah.
The fake news.
Yeah.
No more brother.
I mean, I want
Oh, brother wars.
kind of like it.
I don't know.
But-
That's too base and red pilled for me to have an opinion on.
I don't know, man. I think that's a pretty fair opinion.
Boys in
to-
blue pilled.
We just freaking red pilled a blue pill. Okay. My God. But it's funny you mentioned that how the media like skews like outlooks on things regarding the police, especially the police, because for someone in my community, like the black community, you don't see reports on the news, especially national news, about how bad it is in the inner cities. Like the gang violence between black on black
Oh,
crime
it's
and such.
horrible.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
it's bad.
It's horrific. It is literally a genocide. But they don't
They
report
It's
about
a
they don't
it.
care about that though.
self-genocide
They don't
too.
want to report about
They
that.
they don't care in the slightest, right? They want to sell you the narrative that the white police officers are your enemy, and as a result of that, the communities are going to be hostile to police officers. Police officers aren't going to patrol the communities, and therefore violent crime is going to perpetuate in those communities. It's a vicious cycle, and it starts at the media.
But you know, I think at the same time though, it partially started with how cops actually were. Yeah, the media has perpetuated it, but it began with how cops were, especially to people like us back in like the 50s and 60s and such. You know, basically abusing us or killing us at any possible chance that they had because, you know, we were black people. But when the media
Friday
figured out
nights, the
that
Firehouse Special.
oh, shit, man. But like
The overwhelming majority of police officers on the force right now were all born after 1983.
yeah.
So most of them are not going to share those predilections, and the police officers who were alive and serving during those times are probably too old to be road officers. I have met one racist police officer in my life. I've worked for 4 different departments in 6 years. I've served with some 500 different law enforcement officers. Only one of them have I ever met that was a genuine racist.
In Missouri too. Wow, that's crazy.
Wait,
You know, we've got black people in Missouri. When I worked in St. Louis County, most of my coworkers were black.
of course, because
Now I work
massive.
now I work in a county that has less than a 1% black population. But even so, like, none of us are racists because we're not even dealing with them most of the time. You know, I remember having to take a complaint, and I was dealing with this lady, and she was complaining about her neighbors being Hispanic and playing loud music, and saying that the Hispanics come over the border and they always cause a lot of trouble. And then my 64-year-old sergeant looked at her and said, "Ma'am, I've fought more white people in my life than I've ever fought Mexicans. They don't cause me any problems. If their music's too loud, then just play yours louder." And then we left.
That's great.
You know, that's a 64-year-old man. That's a man who grew up when Jim Crow was still a thing.
That's very true. That's very true.
I
So-
want to. Go ahead.
I mean, I was just gonna ask, like, what occurred with this racist cop? Is he still working in the force, or is he?
Not even in the slightest.
Okay, good.
Really,
Got
what
rid of him
happened
with
to
a
him?
quickness.
Repeat that.
He made the mistake of lying to his supervisor.
Uh-oh.
Bad
Oh.
idea.
There's very few things that you can do if it's a genuine, honest mistake. Very few of them are ever going to cost you your career. Lying will definitely, 100% of the time, cost you your career.
100%.
If you lie to your supervisor, you've lost your integrity and are no longer fit to be a law enforcement officer. It doesn't matter how big the fuck up is. If it was genuine and it was an honest mistake and it was not malicious, it can be fixed. And I personally know that to be true. I've fucked up before myself. If you're
Well, you
honest
did.
about it and it wasn't a malicious mistake, it can be fixed. Now, this was a malicious mistake, but that's not to say that some people aren't willing to shift things around and fix it anyway. However, fortunate enough for everybody else in society, this dude had the collective IQ of a toaster, and he lied to his supervisor. I don't know why you would do that when you know goddamn well that everything that you do is on camera, on your body camera, on your dash camera, and on 30 or 40 cameras that are watching you when you're in an interaction with somebody, especially when that person is a different race than you.
Wow. I mean, what
I-
the hell, man? Dude. that's
Anyways,
fucking hilarious.
The exact issue, it wasn't like brutality or anything, but we'd gotten into a pursuit with a couple of teenagers ranging from 14 to 19. They were gang members. And when we finally got the pursuit was over, we got them all put into different cars and we were interrogating them. And one of the teenagers had told the supervisor that the officer who was interrogating him was making racial accusations at him. You know, accusing him of being a degenerate because he's black. And he wasn't lying. And we reviewed the body camera footage, and the officer in question kept using phrases like "you people."
Oh,
You people are
Okay.
always doing this. You people are always doing this. It's only you people that we have this problem with.
Okay.
I hate to speak up and say this, but like can't even get it out as a as a black man that
Why'd you
hurts.
hesitate so
Like,
much?
sorry,
No,
it's I am. I just I don't like using my to value my
Nah, man.
arguments, but like
it lends
as a
itself to the point.
it does. So like that hurts more than like being called. Honestly, it's so like because the N word's a name and it's overused, but like you people is so like
old
dehuman.
school.
and
Yeah,
co-
it's otherizing is what it is, and it's very demeaning. And that police officer was immediately punished for that. Had he not lied, he still probably would have got a suspension and his pay docked. Because police departments nowadays don't even play around with accusations of racism or misconduct. I have a coworker who I've trusted for a long time. I don't believe for a second that he's guilty, but he went to a medical call one time. He responded to an unresponsive woman. She had overdosed on drugs. He had administered Narcan and began performing CPR. She woke up and accused him of sexual assault. Well,
Oh.
in
Ooh.
his haste to get to her and administer medical care, he didn't turn his body camera on.
Wow.
So now
Oh,
he's
man,
sitting
that's a
in
tight
jail in an
situation.
adjacent county to me, and he has to go to trial on that.
That's
I don't believe for a
nuts.
second that he did it,
A life.
but he got himself hemmed up because he didn't have his body camera on, which is something that I'm pathological about. I won't get out of my car unless it's on.
That's nuts,
That is
man.
fucking horrible, though.
Yeah, and also with the body cams, haven't officer complaints gone down a significant amount since people wanted body cams on officers?
Sustained complaints have gone down. The amount of complaints still comes in, but then as soon as the administration goes, we'll review the body camera footage, they're usually rescinded.
They just drop it.
Yeah, it goes away pretty quickly when the lie is exposed. And that's another thing. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the YouTube donut operator, but
Oh yeah,
one
I
of
love
his
him.
primary bits is he exposes viral Twitter lies or Facebook lies regarding interactions with law enforcement. People are too willing to believe that they are a victim and that there is an evil villain out there that they have to fight against and rail against. And so anytime an interaction with police officers is skewed beyond all truth, horribly misrepresented, that is just immediately gobbled up because it reaffirms what the people already want to believe. So they're not willing to investigate it. And then when someone like Donut Operator comes along and says, hey, this is what really happened, here's the proof, all of a sudden people don't want to engage anymore, right? It's never retracted. It just vanishes into the ether, and it just recycles to the next point. There are people who literally make their living off of lying about police officers and putting them and the rest of their brothers and sisters in danger.
Man. I gotta say though, do you think that there are some cases, like some genuine cases of racial bias in police officers?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Like I said, I've personally encountered that. It's not as common as the media wants to portray. I mean, you have 180 some odd million interactions with police, right? You have to imagine that at least 30% of them are between people that 30 to 40 to 50%, a large majority of police interactions are going to be between officers of the same race. You know, the other percentage of that are going to be cross racials, but in giant metropolitan areas where racism is almost completely extinct socially. Like, I can't think of something more damning to be accused of in modern society than being a racist. Just the mere accusation can destroy a career. It can completely ruin your life.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that. I would say
Same with-
probably a worst case is sexual assault.
Rape.
Being
Yeah,
accused of
same-
No,
sexual
because
assault.
that gets hemmed up all the time. I mean, how many times has somebody been accused of sexual assault and like half the population was like, they probably deserved it. Like Bill Cosby. I never met anybody who was like, yeah, Bill Cosby should go to prison. Okay.
Really?
I genuinely thought it was a really disturbing thing. You had some 40 some odd women accusing him, and I would bring it up to people when the trial was a thing. I was like, hey, what do you think about Bill Cosby? Oh, I don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about that. But then you put a story about a cop on the news who's a racist, like Amber Geyer. I don't know if there was a racial motive behind that or not. I didn't follow that too closely. I think she's just an idiot, and it reinforces
that
one of my
happened
opinions that
here
are
in
less
Texas.
common. But
Amber
And
Geyer fucking
that whole
disgusts me.
situation was just absolutely ludicrous because she was okay. I think she came back from like a late shift or something, and the whole time she was having like an affair with one of her fellow officers, and she came back late. I think she claimed that she was like in a sort of daze or whatever, tired basically, and she went inside the some room. Like I guess the door was open. I don't even know how she got inside
She
the
thought
guy's
it was
Her
apartment.
apartment.
neighbor's apartment.
Yeah, she thought it
Yeah,
was her
she got
apartment
inside
when
of
it
her
wasn't.
neighbor's apartment. I don't even know how she got in. I guess the guy
The door was
either
unlocked.
the door was
Like, slightly
unlocked.
open.
Okay, yeah, she went inside.
I'm going to tell you right now,
Mm.
I have worked 50-hour shifts, and I've never been tired enough to walk into the wrong person's house.
That's what she claimed. I mean, she
Yeah.
claimed to be going.
I remember
She went inside of her neighbor's apartment. She didn't know who that was inside of the apartment, and so
I
she pulled
find
the gun
that
out and
when
shot.
female officers are in those sorts of predicaments, their generally go-to excuse is that they were fatigued, right, or they were
Really?
tired. Right? I've never heard that defense used for male officers. I've been present to some trials of police officers going to prison for what they did, and at no point did their defense ever offer they were tired. But that is the go-to defense for female officers who are in trouble.
I won't say anything about that, but
It's just a general observation. Take with that information what you will.
no, I'm gonna take.
I'm gonna-
I'll tell you this right now. If I call for backup and a female shows up, I'm going to call for another unit.
Oh my god.
There have been 2 females in my entire career that I trusted with my life. 2.
Base department, bro.
Bro,
Base
this guy is
depart-
like women hating.
file.
Incel cop.
I don't hate women at all. I just think they're horribly ineffective at the job of law enforcement. They're
Incel cop.
either over-emotional brats, like
Dude.
Absolutely.
Bro, absolutely. That's how she got away with that. She didn't get away with it. She got 10 years, but like she should have gotten.
if it had been a
way
male
longer
that
than
did that, he'd have died in
Yeah.
prison.
He would have gotten life in prison, or he would have got like an execution. But like she got 10 years because the whole time she's crying her eyes out like a idiot, even though she.
Then the brother hugged her.
Yeah, the brother hugged her, which I mean, that's definitely like a super incredible thing that he did because anybody
That
else
whole trial was a shit show.
pretty much, but like I mean anybody else would not have done that, to be honest with you. So I mean, for him to hug her was a very good choice. I'd say I commend him for that. But for her
They
to get
humanized
10 years, for her to get 10 years for going inside of another guy's house and shooting
And
him
she won't
dead?
serve 20% of that.
Wait,
Dude.
are you defending them shooting another person?
No, I said she wouldn't serve 20% of that sentence because that's just the way the prison system works.
No.
Bro, who's hammering a nail right now?
Sorry, that's I think
I wasn't defending it at all. My point is that the sentence in and of itself is unjustifiable because she was convicted of murder, not manslaughter. So right out of the gate, 15 years minimum for murder 2. In my state, it's actually 20 years minimum for murder 2 and 25 to life for murder 1, or the death penalty because my state is a death penalty state.
Mm.
woo.
We actually killed somebody not too long ago. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Obviously the sentence was completely unjustified. If she was convicted of murder, she should have got the minimum sentence for murder, and she didn't.
She did not.
Furthermore, she's only going to serve about 20% of that because that's how the prison system works. She's a female, and they're going to consider in her parole board how likely she is to reoffend, and that she's just going to get washed out of the system. She'll be a convicted felon for the rest of her life, but the penalty that she suffers will in no way compare to the damage she inflicted upon that man's family.
Do you really think she'll only serve like 2 years? 20%?
If that.
Wow.
Wow, man.
If that.
That is
Most
insane.
people only serve 120 and they bounce out. But she's convicted of a capital crime, so I doubt that she'll only serve a 120. I arrested a guy for first-degree aggravated assault back in 2015. He got out of prison less than a year later. This is a guy who carved his brother up like a Christmas turkey.
Jesus.
Wow.
He didn't
Yeah,
kill him,
it
though.
was
Just
a
fucked him up really bad.
When I showed up to the scene, this dude was literally holding his guts inside of himself.
Dude, wait.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Why?
He carved him up like a Christmas turkey. Got out in a year.
Who lets him out? Who makes this decision?
They took
Pro
his
board.
hands, right? They cut his hands off, right?
Who let him out?
No.
Fuck.
Yeah, I deal with a lot of white supremacist gangs around here in my area, and they start out in prison, right? Most of the time, people don't get recruited into a white supremacist gang unless they go to prison and feel they need to be protected.
Have you
Because
met
in
Americana?
prison, it is unfortunately the case that when you're in prison, the only thing that matters is your skin color, right?
Yeah,
That
I
is
can
the
actually-
group
I
identity.
can actually speak on that a little bit. My dad, well, I can't personally. My dad has talked to me about it, and he told me. I asked him because he came out and he had tattoos. Like he had a swastika on his fucking ankle. He had white
Oh
power.
my.
And I asked him about it. I was like, "Why the fuck did you get those, you retard?" And he told me, "Well, in there it's white and black. There's no."
Wait. Does your dad? I don't mean to pry too much, but like, does your dad actually think like that, or did he kind of just do that to?
The overwhelming majority of them don't think like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's prison. Like he doesn't actually hate black people. Like he has friends that are black. Like he's not a racist. But in there, it's white and black.
And there you have to, yeah.
And there,
You have to claim to be in order to keep yourself safe.
I mean, I got a buddy who's an Aryan Circle, a retired Aryan Circle, and that's one of the larger AB prison gangs in my area, and it has a bunch of derivative branches like the Honkies and Family Values and the Sacred Separatist Group. This guy has a giant 8-inch in diameter swastika tattooed to his right pectoral. Doesn't have a racist bone in his body.
Oh my.
What?
He dated a black girl in high school.
Ooh.
He
That's
doesn't have a
indefensible.
racist bone in his body.
was she cute
He
though?
can just,
But
he can just
when
kinda
you
do
go
what
to
a bullet.
prison, yeah, she was gorgeous. But
Yeah,
when you go to
it's a higher-
prison, that's all that matters is what your color is.
Yep.
Jeez.
And if you want to get protection, you have to validate. You know,
And-
you have to wear the brand and validate.
In most cases, though, but in some, like I have a brother who also went to prison. His experience is way different. Like he was friends with everyone. He was neutral. If you're not in a gang, you're just neutral. That's what they call it.
Yeah, but it depends on the prison.
Depends
You know,
on the
if you
prison,
go,
yeah.
so it depends. Like if you get convicted for a non-violent offense, you're probably going to go to a prison primarily dominated by non-violent offenders. Okay, if you get convicted of a violent offense, you're going to go to a prison primarily, dominated by violent offenders. Like we have several prisons here in Missouri. Fulton is is a medium security to min security. Then you have Farmington, which is a little bit higher up the list. That's where most of your sex offenders go. And then you have Jefferson City Correctional. Jefferson City Correctional is the big boy squad. Okay, if you go there, it's because you're serving a dime piece or more. That is the hardcore prison. It's at least a level 4, if not level 5. But most people in there are not going to be out in less than 10 years.
Wow. What the?
That is the murderers and the rapists.
Is
And they don't get along.
I
They do not.
I know rape is technically counted as under sexual assault, but
Rape 1 is a violent offense. So
Okay,
if it's a
it's a
forcible
violent-
rape, then it's a violent offense, and it goes into
I'm-
violent
I'm
offender
glad you can
category.
read my mind.
Yeah.
You get that
Statutory
question a lot?
rape that is statutory, meaning that it's rape according to the law, like a 20-year-old having sex with a 15-year-old. That is not a violent offense, unless he uses compulsion, in which case they wouldn't charge him with statutory rape. They would charge him with rape 1, because the whole point of statutory is that if the person wasn't underage, it wouldn't be considered rape for the sole value of the person consented.
Is
Right.
any
But
state you have worked in or about called Romeo and Juliet laws?
Yeah, my state has Romeo and
Yeah.
Juliet laws.
I kind of want to ask, why is it that sexual assault cases are taken so like serious in that way to the point where like, oh my God, just because there's just an allegation, this guy has to go to jail for like 2 years or something, or
That
like
is a
lose his
direct
entire
result of the
life.
current political climate. That's
I'm
the
sure
direct
that
result of
is.
the current political climate. Because nobody wants to seen as the guy playing devil's advocate for somebody accused of sexual assault.
Whole Me Too movement thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what that's doing is creating a schism, right?
Mhm.
You're creating a schism between people who believe the woman no matter what, regardless of how much evidence she lacks, and people
Exactly.
who believe the man no matter what, regardless of how much evidence is against him.
I'd say it's
You
more
know,
so inclined towards the former of the two. I'd say nowadays, even if you're a guy who's like clean as a whistle, has no record, nothing, if he gets accused of rape, his life is ruined. Like I knew a dude in college. He got accused of raping this girl who was a big time liar, like habitual. She was definitely like the biggest liar I've ever met in my entire life, and she had a habit of like sleeping around a lot. So one night, him and her were like together at a party, and so she got like super wasted, and he was about to like leave the room, but she was like, no, no, come back, and they started like making out or whatever. She
Yeah.
said yes. He was like actually asking like, all right, do you want to do this, even though you're like kind of sloppy drunk? And she was like, yes, yes, yes. They slept together. The next day, she's like so disgusted, and literally a week later, she's like, "I think this guy raped me. Can like you guys arrest him?" And he got. I don't remember if he's still in like the system, but I do know he got arrested and he's kicked out of college now for like forever. Like he's gone. He's banned. So his
Bro, you're
entire
not
life
talking
is
about
now just
Peanut, are
I
you?
had a coworker.
shut up.
I had a
No.
coworker. He still works for us, but he's in a different division. I don't see him anymore. But because I work nights and he works days, so we never cross paths unless I come across a property crime, and he's a detective now. But um, we take most of our equipment home with us, including our body cameras.
Mm.
And when something goes on the body camera, regardless of how frivolous or inane it is, maybe you just accidentally turned it on while you're making dinner. It stays on there until an administrator takes it off. So a major or the undersheriff has to take it off. Like you can't delete your body camera. Keeping that in mind, my coworker, if he brought a woman home, would turn that thing on his table and say, "Oops, an accident," just to
What?
ensure that if any woman ever accused him of sexual assault, he could be like, "No, here you go."
That's smart.
Oh,
That
that's
is very
smart.
smart.
He got talked to quite a few times because our undersheriff was a female and she had to watch those before she could delete them.
Oh my God. So you have free
That's
stuff.
And
I
so
funny.
what he started doing was he would put a piece of paper up in front of the camera for a few seconds. So that would be the thumbnail when she looked at it, and she could know immediately just to burn that to his flash drive and not look at it.
Wow.
Phil,
That's great.
please
You
stop
know?
showing me your sex tapes. I
No,
meant
this
What
is
what an
a guy.
absolute Chad Beast Giga fucking.
gauge head.
Yeah, here's another thing. Consider for a fact this dude was taking home enough strange women that was warranted.
Jesus.
I
He was something else.
I want
I'm
to
not married.
ask.
No.
I want to ask. I monkeys. I joked a little bit. I said, Peanut. I wasn't. I kind of wasn't joking. That's This is a case that happened in 2010 before the political
You're kind of lagging.
became what it was. Am I?
Just
Sorry.
a little bit. No, you're fine, man.
Okay. This is a case that happened in 2010 before the climate is what it became. So I kind of wanted to bring it up and ask about it because there's details that cleared up about this
Go ahead.
system would have worked back then. My where do I start? All right, my dad runs a jiu-jitsu studio out where we live, right? And back in 2010 there was this guy. He trained up until this guy moved to Brooklyn, and he was really good. We called him Peanut. Honestly, I don't know his first or last name. I just knew him by the nickname Peanut, which is why I said that. But he was really good. He became the brown belt world champion no-gi jiu-jitsu, and he had like a whole career track set against him. And the story was pretty much exactly the same as what he went to a party with some girl who got plastered drunk. So did he, and she regretted it the next morning, and he got accused of rape. That's what I heard. That's what the details are.
The immediate defense to that, 100% of the time, and I guarantee you it'll work because I've done it, is if you get drunk and you have sex with a female, and she goes to the, I'm going to accuse you a little while back. The only thing you got to do is accuse her right back.
Really?
That is the play that nobody expects to see coming, because if she says, yeah, he raped me, I was drunk, you can say, she raped me, I was drunk. Now what's she going to do? Now what's she going to do? Really, it works 100% of the time.
This is PIM.
I've pulled it out about 4 or 5 times because I know I got absolutely obliterated one time at a high school reunion, and there was this girl that I don't know. She and I never really talked in high school. I didn't run with her crowd, but now that I'm out of high school, I'm less of a dork. I'm more physically fit because of my job, right? And she wanted to have some fun. We both had, fucking punch that was about 75% vodka, and so we go and we fool around a little bit. A couple days later, I'm getting a call from a detective asking me if I know anything about this. I'm like, what are you talking about? And yeah, she's filing a sexual assault complaint against you, and I know you because he's somebody that I knew. He worked in a different county, but I knew him because I've dealt with him before. And he's like, I don't think you did this, but you're going to want to get in front of this. So the first thing I did is I went and hired the best defense attorney in my county. Second thing I did was I countersued her and filed a civil petition as well as a criminal petition that she raped me. She dropped it in 3 days. 3 days. That's all it took. 72 hours, and it vanished into the ether.
Very nice.
Oh my god!
The thing with that is that men are under the belief that they can't accuse a woman of rape because men can't be raped because if they got an erection that means they liked it, right? They consented. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it makes sense.
I got a boner in a shootout one time. It means nothing.
No, it makes sense because men can obviously control the blood flow in their body. Like that makes sense.
No, I'm not. This isn't a lie.
Fuck you.
And I've been in 2 police shootings, neither one which resulted in a fatality, but in both police shootings, I got an erection.
That's fair.
Because my blood was
so
pumping
fair.
so hard, and my adrenaline was so high in the roof that when I finally sat down in my car, I was like, fuck, my pants are tight. Sitting here like pulling a wedgie out and trying to move my leg.
No, I mean, it was obviously because you just like
primitive
shootout.
Bro, you just like shooting your gun, man.
Yeah,
you just like the shootout because you're a violent criminal. That's why you got the boner, man.
That's our primitive urge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Exactly.
That is a
enjoy
big
a good fight.
though.
That's all.
It's literally just the reverse Uno card though, with that whole fucking
Honestly, if you get into a fight,
I took a slug in the leg and I still had one.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
That's
God.
No, for real. I
Committed.
took a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson to the top left half of my thigh and my right leg. Still had it.
Wow.
I didn't even notice I'd been shot until about 10 minutes later, and I was like, man, my leg feels weird.
Oh my!
Just don't look.
When you're in that moment, you don't even feel it happen.
Good on you for
That's
taking that.
pretty
Like,
brutal.
Adrenaline
But
is a hell of a drug.
it hit me
Dude.
right in the muscle, and so I definitely felt that motherfucker when my adrenaline went away.
Have you ever seen? Have you seen
honestly.
that video of that guy's face after he got mauled by a bear?
oh my god, I
Like
can't
he
avoid
literally
it.
looked like he got smashed by an anvil, but he was just talking like it was nothing. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, a bear came over the hill, took me by surprise." And it's like, dude, your face is
Took me by
gone.
surprise.
It's like your face is gone.
man.
How are you talking right
No,
now?
but
He was just so
honestly,
pumped
that
with
is-
adrenaline, he didn't mind it. Like that man was a beast. Okay, he had to have been.
That's how it was with my my shooting. So what happened was we went to a convenience store because there was this guy who they reported was on drugs and harassing people outside of the store. So me and my partner show up. We start talking to him. First thing we notice is this dude's got a handgun in his waistband, and we're like, okay. Now here's the thing: in the state of Missouri, it is not illegal to carry a handgun anywhere,
Oh, really?
with or without a permit, if you're over the age of 19 years old.
Well, good.
So him having the handgun was not against the law. So we were politely requesting that he keep his hands where we can see them, because we can very visibly see he has a handgun in his waistband. And he's rattling off about like the FBI sending him subliminal messages. And we're like, okay, yeah, we know exactly where this is going to go. And so we're trying to talk to him. We're kind of encroaching on him. My partner's circling around him one way. I'm circling around him the next. In hindsight, not a good idea, because if he were to pull that gun out, we'd be in a crossfire. But that's exactly what he did. So my partner's off about a 45-degree angle. I'm directly in front of him, straight 180. And this guy turns and looks at me and says, "You're not taking me back to my father!" And he pulls the gun out, points it directly at me, and me and my partner just light the motherfucker up. He had his taser in his hand, so he hits him one time in the lower back. I take my firearm out and fire 4 shots, 2 of which missed. 1 went in the stomach, 1 went in his upper chest, and this dude was still standing. All right, he was still coming at me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was hopped up on something. Which brings into another question. Why didn't they just tase him? Because that wouldn't have worked, motherfucker.
Suck.
That wouldn't have worked. Anybody who says, why didn't they just tase him, has never been tased. Fact.
Or use one.
Oh my
Tasers
God.
hurt. I know from experience. I volunteered at school.
Training exercises, we get tased and we have to shoot at a target with an airsoft gun.
Best 5 seconds of your life, huh?
It hurts, but you can still move plenty.
Depending on where your probes are at, you have full mobility. Like if you get probed in the lower back or the legs, you're going to drop, like you're going to be seizing up. But if you don't get probed above your chest, your arms are completely free to move around and fight.
Oh my God.
We had my jiu-jitsu instructor got tased while he was rolling with one of us, and he still pinned the dude.
Holy shit, nice.
Christ, man.
Well, rank
You only seize up in a small area of your body. The probes have to be in the literal perfect position to achieve the optimal result. You have to have one at the top right quadrant of the body and one at the lower left quadrant of the body. Okay? So the optimal position is getting one in the shoulder and one in the back of the left thigh. But nobody's ever going to get that, because you'd have to be like exactly 16 feet away from the person, and they can't be wearing any clothes, or it's going to fuck up the shot. That's another thing. In the winter, if someone's wearing even a hoodie, tasers are out the window. They're not going to work. Sometimes when we fight with people and we're on the ground, we'll dry stun them, so we'll pull their shirt up and hit them with a dry stun instead of the cartridge. But that's not particularly effective because there's no grounding, and so it just burns. It doesn't actually like electrocute you or seize you up. It just hurts. That's all it does. It just fucking hurts. It hurts like a bitch. It doesn't diminish your mobility in any capacity. My partner has dry stunned me on more than one occasion as a joke.
Awesome. It does have.
It just fucking hurts. It pinches. It's not like it doesn't feel like you're being shocked. Like if you've ever touched an electrical outlet.
What a classic
It's just like this perpetual burn feeling.
Hey, bro, don't tase me.
No, it happens all the time. I had a guy prank me by spraying his pepper spray on my cheeseburger.
What?
Holy shit.
Oh, that must have been
All
great.
2.5 million Scoville units.
Was that a good season?
I ate that shit like a champ, though. I
Yeah.
tasted it as soon as I took a bite, but I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction, so I suffered. I suffered
So you
through
just
that.
started
for him.
crying.
What,
No, I didn't. I didn't show any reaction at all. I pretended like I didn't even notice.
Oh,
I don't mean to go off topic, but I just love. What belt rank are you, bro?
Green belt.
You're in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Where do you train?
If I tell you that, you'll know where I live.
oh my God, it's lethal.
Oh, okay, so small school, got it. But like, green? Okay, I've never heard of anyone who's over the age of 16 having a belt. You should be.
I started
you should be
3
like,
years ago.
Are you? How old are you?
I'm 26.
That doesn't sound right. You should be like a 3 or 4 stripe white belt. Not regular progression in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is white, blue, purple, brown, black. Unless you're a child, in which case you get white, yellow, orange, green.
The beginner class does it all the same. They don't distinguish between age. I've never rolled before. I've never done jiu-jitsu before, so we're all in the same class. There's only like 40 of us. It's a very small class.
I don't know.
Well, they don't
must
let you
work
spar
differently.
yet.
Yeah, sorry. My dad
I'm not some pro martial artist. I just do it
No.
because it helps me when I'm fighting people on the street.
No. I don't expect you to be an expert, or anything, but that's just weird. Like jiu-jitsu is like half of my life, so I've just never heard something like that before. My dad was
It's a
trained
podon
by.
constructor.
My dad was trained by a guy who got his black belt from the Gracie, rolled with Hoist Gracie, preparing for UFC 1, like 4. So I like straight from the horse's mouth. Never heard that. So
So
it's
it might be because the program that we're learning in is specifically designed for police officers, so it's not competition.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have you ever
Yeah,
worked on a swatting case? Like, have you ever been sent? I guess you aren't.
Yes.
SWAT. Oh, how
My second year on the force, I joined the SWAT team. Just as a side gig to do raids. It's an off-duty thing.
just for
SWAT. Contrary to popular belief, SWAT teams are not always on duty. We're a special response team. We get called in if there's a need for us. So most SWAT officers are going to be just basic patrol guys who have better PT scores than everybody else. That's about it.
makes sense.
Okay.
But
So-
what was the situation for the swatting?
Some neighbor called on this guy because he was upset with his loud video game and said that he was holding his girlfriend hostage. So we blew his door off and went in there and raided his house, and that wasn't happening. And he was very upset, and he sued us and won like $2 million.
Damn.
You know what? Good for him. I would.
Yeah.
I'd probably be upset
Gotta
too.
say, good for him. Good for him. That's well deserved.
He also sued his neighbor and took his neighbor's house, and so now he owns his house and the house right next to his.
Damn.
And he's not
Bro,
even
that's a
living
power
there.
move. No way.
Can we have the dude's first name? The dude who's playing the video games.
No,
I want.
God.
No.
I can't give you that.
Oh,
Shout out to the
boy.
guy who literally bought his neighbor's house.
He didn't even buy it. He
I mean,
literally
you'll
just,
probably find it if you Google that circumstance.
he just
It was in
acquired.
St. Louis County.
I might.
No, it was in St. Louis County. So if you look it up, you'll probably find it.
That's a very funny.
No, that's all he sued him for too. He sued his neighbor just for the house.
You know what?
That's-
Now the neighbor can't complain.
That's so good.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause now the neighbor's homeless.
Yeah. Now the neighbor has bigger things to complain about.
Now there goes the $380,000 house out the window.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What would you
No,
do?
no compensation.
Yeah. What would you guys do if your house is just taken from you?
I mean,
Well-
like, if
Oh,
I'm in
capital
that
murder.
situation,
I would reconsider my life
really-
choices that led me to that moment.
Capital murder.
bro, I'm just
Maybe-
living in the woods.
Maybe I shouldn't.
I mean, the
have,
neighbor is an emergency, like an ER surgeon, so he's not going to suffer from it.
Oh, that's
It's not
why I
like-
did it. That's the only reason.
It's not like the guy is like has no option when you take his house. I mean, this dude makes like $500,000 a year. It's,
It's just
he didn't have any kids or anything either. So this guy's like, "You want to complain about my loud music? I'll just take your fucking house, bitch. Move further down the block."
Wow.
But I've been kind
houses.
of curious. Like, what's like probably the scariest encounter you ever had on duty?
Oh, I don't think I can rank it. Honestly, there's been a couple that definitely tie for that.
Give us the best hits.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, I just told you I have been.
You just-
You got shot in the leg, bro.
40 caliber Smith and Wesson in my upper.
But was
on my
that
upper
really
right side.
that bad though? You got an erection from it. I mean, you kind of enjoyed it, bro.
It's gonna be on the test, dude. You gotta pay attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
come on,
absolutely.
I don't know. My sturgeon might disagree
Thank
with
you,
you there.
Joe Rogan.
man. Yo, Jesus Christ. Boy,
Contrary to
that's-
popular belief, 40 Smith and Wesson Federal Premium HST does in fact act as a Viagra.
What the heck?
Yeah. You know what? I
Yeah, that's the
agree.
worst part about it. That bitch was a hollow point. So they had to like in. What's up?
Somebody just made like a.
I don't know.
noise,
That's
a
an interesting
Hey,
thing to
you gotta-
contemplate.
Dude,
It is an interesting
you're,
thing to
you're
contemplate.
going off the rails again.
But
We're going
Let's see.
bananas.
no, I'm trying to think of like the scariest
no.
that I've been on so far. Let me think. Hold on. Let me think. Okay, so there was an abandoned house call I got. Someone was fucking around an abandoned house. I don't really care about abandoned houses if there's squatters living there. I'm just, all right, you guys got to leave, and then I'll just go away. Whether they follow my directive or not is not my concern. So I go to this abandoned house. I fully expect I'm going to be dealing with squatters. As soon as I pull up, the hairs on the back of my neck start to stand up. And I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Like, that is not a sensation I get very often, but as soon as I got this, like, this is fucking creepy. So before I ever got out of my car, I called for an additional unit. It's dark as fuck outside. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, God.
Okay? I step out of my car, and my $200 flashlight won't work.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Won't
Ghosts,
fucking work.
run, demons, get out.
That is straight out of a
And so I was
movie,
like,
bro.
oh, dude,
No
you
way.
gotta be shitting me.
This is-
And it's
this
not
is-
dead either. I put it on the charger, the light's green. It's not dead. It just won't fucking come on. It will not fucking come on. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This is like my like second or third year on the force. Okay, so partner rolls up, kills his headlights, comes up to me, and he's like, dude, is the hair on the back of your neck standing up? Fuck yeah, it is, dude. Alright, so we both draw our weapons,
Holy
and
shit.
ironically enough, the light on my weapon is functioning. And so we go up here to clear this house, okay? We knock on the door, and we yell out, St. Louis County Sheriff's Office. And then pop the door open, we don't get any response. And we're walking around. And I don't know why it was so creepy, but the creepiest thing is that this house made literally no fucking noise at all. Every step was completely and perfectly muted.
What?
I'm wearing thick-ass leather boots. I cannot hear where I'm stepping.
There's no carpet on the
And I'm
floor? Is
not
there
being
carpet?
quiet either. I'm not being sneaky. Like, when we're searching a building, we're not trying to hide ourselves. We want you to know we're there.
Was this like a wood
And we're
floor?
doing our sweeps. I do what? No,
Was
it was the lower floor. It was the base floor level. But the
Have you ever heard
house
of
had a basement.
SCP, my friend?
Lower
You were in
level.
an SCP.
No, this
I
went
don't
into-
know what that is.
To Twilight Zone.
Nah. Yeah, it's Twilight.
I don't know, but yeah, we're walking around and I'm doing my sweeps. So when you sweep a house, if you have a light on your weapon or you have a light in your other hand, in your non-dominant hand, what you'll do is you'll start at the floor and go up. Start at the floor and go up. You don't leave your light on the whole time. Start at the floor, go up. Start at the floor, go up. Okay, I start doing that. Okay, and about 10 minutes into it, I bring my light up, and there's this fucking figure just standing right in front of me. I
Okay.
freak the hell out and discharge a round right there.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Pop a
What?
round off, and then I hear my partner call shots fired. Okay, and then the light comes back down, and I have it staying on, and I'm pointing, and this figure, I don't even know how to describe it, an apparition, an entity. It's just a black like void of light, basically in the vague shape of a person.
Uh-huh.
It's not doing anything. It's literally
wasn't
just
like a
standing there,
shadow?
not moving.
It was just
No,
vibing,
and it was
bro.
weird. Like my perspective, it wasn't a shadow. No, a shadow doesn't describe it. Like a shadow flickers or it faints or it bends to the light. This was a solid, just void in the vague shape of a person. And the creepier part about it is that when I moved around it, it appeared to me as though the void just kind of shifted with my perspective and was
Oh,
just
that's weird.
in front of me at all times. Okay.
Can I, guys, can I ask? I think I want to. I've had like a similar. I want to ask. Did this? I'm not really worried about like the color, but did this thing appear? Could you possibly describe it as like a, like a sort of dust cloud that was molded into something, or was it like just an absence of light, or?
It looked like a badly rendered video game NPC.
Oh my
Like
god.
Skyrim, bro.
Okay,
just
yeah, I don't think
falling
we,
off
I
the
don't think we
intro.
had similar experiences.
But here's what's creepy. My partner comes running into the room. He hears the shot go off. He goes, "What the fuck are you shooting at?" And I said, "This thing." And as soon as I look back, I blink and it's gone.
Gone. Yep, I knew it.
Ah,
Bro, what?
Vanishes.
Okay, so wait a minute. How are you? How
Here's where it gets fucking worse.
Buddy, we're haunted.
My SO shows up. My superior officer shows up because shots fired. He wants to know what the fuck we're shooting at. Because anytime you discharge your weapon, that's an Amazonian rainforest worth of paperwork. And he goes, he walks up into the house and he goes, "What are y'all shooting at?" And then he just freezes and he goes, "Let's leave." Doesn't say anything else. He just says, "Let's leave." Comes through the doorway, and his entire demeanor, he's yelling at us all the way up the porch. He walks through the door, whole different person. Let's leave. That's all he says to us.
Get out of here.
We walk out of the house. We're not even going to finish clearing this motherfucker. Hell no, I'm not going up or down the stairs. We come out and he goes, "What did you shoot at?" And I just looked at him and I said, "I have no fucking idea." And he goes, "All right, we're gonna write it up as a negligent discharge. You didn't kill anybody.
You just shot at a phantom.
So we're just gonna write it up as a negligent discharge. The house was clear. We're gonna leave. All right." So we're like, "Okay."
So wait.
Put our weapons away.
I mean, you
Go ahead.
keep going.
Left at that.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, aren't you like an atheist or something, man?
Yeah, I am.
Dude.
Pretty hardcore atheist, actually.
If I saw something like that,
So
I
what
would.
So what could that have been?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't pretend to have the answers that I don't have.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
guess
you
that's
could- you
fair,
could-
but
It
like,
wasn't Jesus, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
That's for
Dude,
sure.
for
That's
sure.
not what
Yeah.
Jesus. Definitely.
Hey, you don't know that. He appears in
Who-
many
wait, who-
mysterious ways.
Who
very
called?
fair.
Who
Oh,
called you to
that's
do
God,
that?
not Jesus.
Well, if it was Jesus, I just added another hole to his repertoire. Just saying.
That was pretty
But
good.
my friend asked a question.
But yeah, I mean,
go.
What was the complaint on the house? Like,
Huh?
why did you go there?
Yeah,
because
water. I
because someone complained that there was activity inside of it, and that's
Oh,
where I'm actually about to go. So
Oh.
I'm sitting in my car writing up this report. We're in the driveway, and the air gets a little thick and heavy, and kind of hard to breathe. Really humid outside. It's in the middle of summer, so it's kind of expected. But for whatever reason, it just got more intense. I'm sweating. I turn my AC, just start blasting my AC in my car, and as soon as we're about to pull out of the driveway, you hear very faintly from the inside of the house, "Come in."
Ooh.
We all just deuce the fuck out of there. We all
Yeah,
just
that's our
deuce
cue to
the fuck
leave.
out of there.
That's a dip, bro. That's a
That
dip.
is
That's a big nope, and we forever put that house on the do not respond list.
Oh my.
what?
Can you give me the
That's
address so I can go do crimes there?
It's somewhere on Promontory Drive in Chesterfield.
I'm gonna have to go there and film there.
Noted.
Like I have to like spend the night.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'd love to film something there.
Yeah,
That
we
sounds-
should all.
I think they bulldozed it about a year ago. I'm not sure. I ain't been up that part of the state
You know
in a
what?
while.
That's fair. That's a fair response to that.
Shit.
Bulldozing the
No, I think they just bought the land for development. That's okay, because the next Paranormal Activity movie, it's gonna be at that address.
Honestly, what the hell? I mean, but dude, that's got to be something. Like, I know you're an atheist, but like, bro, that's some deep
No.
shit.
Do you ever think about that? Like what? That's not.
Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Mm-hmm.
For
Okay,
all
so
I
you're
know,
saying
it could have been a
aliens.
warp into a future time. Fuck if I know. I mean, I don't pretend to know what it was. I don't speculate, because if I speculate, then I'm just gonna, my imagination is gonna conjure up something way worse than it actually was.
It's a fourth dimensional being.
Bro,
There's an
are you
alien
watching
breaching.
It's
Interstellar right now?
Mixopidalic. It's
Oh my
Mixopidalic.
god, from Superman. I like how you said
I'm a
that
big Superman nerd.
perfectly. Wow,
I'm a huge Superman nerd.
dude, I've known that name for the longest time. I can never say it. I always thought it was called like Mixaplick or something.
Little.
Mixopidalic.
Wow. Yeah, man.
No, I'm a
he
huge
freaking
Superman
visited
nerd.
you. That's insane. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what it was. I don't know what the experience was. I know that we all shared it. I don't know if it was something about just maybe it was,
That's definitely some.
I don't know. Maybe there was something weird about the magnetic polarity of that house that fucked with our minds. Because I know that's possible.
There was
Something
fumes
like
in
that.
the
But
house, maybe.
here's what I know it wasn't. Right? It wasn't malicious. It didn't hurt me.
It was just
scared the
there.
fuck out of me.
Maybe 'cause
It's
you
just
got-
there. It's just there vibing, and I shot it.
Yeah, maybe that's why it hurt you.
Bro, he
All right,
do just be
I gotta
vibing
go,
for real.
gentlemen.
He do be listening.
I'll be back
to music,
later.
though. All right, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
That was,
thanks.
that was fucking great.
That guy was freaking amazing, though.
Yeah.
I
should've
respect
gotten
They
that.
always
earlier.
have the best stories. I love them.
Yeah, that guy was awesome. I mean, screw Lucifer. Like, I mean, not Lucifer. Lethal.
Lucifer.
His
Yeah,
name,
yeah.
His name
Oh, yeah,
on
screw
Discord
Lucifer
is
too.
Hey,
Lucifer.
now.
His
The
name
devil
on
is a
Discord
liar.
is Lucifer. So, I mean, that's why I call him that. But Lethal. I mean, screw Lethal. Lethal probably would have added. You know what? Lethal probably would have just been there as like a freaking what do you call it? He just would have been
This
like,
conversation.
Bad guy,
Like
an
a lump.
enemy,
yeah, he would
a
have been
heel.
like the bad guy. Oh, I think Aport's oh fuck. You know, was Aport talking the whole time?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Kind of.
I couldn't hear him. I think it was messed up on my end for me.
Could be.
So your
couldn't hear him
stream
the
did
whole
not hear
time.
him?
I promise you, I don't think I heard him. I may have heard him
He
like
was talking.
once.
he just said he had to go.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him.
He
So
said.
your stream didn't hear him then, right?
To be fair, you talk
Shit.
over like everyone.
I heard him.
Yeah, I heard him.
I
too.
heard him.
I did not. And I was not
Well,
talking
we'll see how it
over him
runs.
because I wasn't even talking.
I mean,
I
you
wasn't
were,
talking
but you
to
didn't
him.
know that you were.
No, I promise you, like the whole time I didn't hear him. Like even when he was talking before that point, I didn't hear him. But that's a
Monkey's
goddamn
the
shame,
ghost.
though.
This episode of the podcast.
Repeat that.
When's the ghost stories episode?
Ooh, I want to be
Oh,
on that one.
that'd be
Because
great.
I have a good ghost story, but the episode.
Shoot,
official
man, I don't know. You know,
I
next one is it's gonna be Ann Prim.
The religious debate, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna really be a debate. I'd say I'd just say we're just gonna be like talking like different religious views and like philosophies and stuff. With I was
I'd love
gonna
to-
I was
I
gonna
would.
bring him on for that episode instead of this one. But I mean, I guess if he's like still able to, he can come on to the next one, of course, because like he's like a pretty sophisticated guy for the most part, of course. But I was gonna bring him on for that one, but then when Lethal like bailed out, I was just like, all right, screw it. But yeah, man, that one should be good because I'm gonna have Monkey Archive on there. I'm gonna have did I just hear a monkey noise?
No,
Yeah, I did. Son of a
you
bitch.
never changed the title of this podcast for the stream. It's still number 3.
Ah, damn, that's right. I forgot
What
to.
the heck?
You should change it so that when people watch the VOD,
Yeah.
Is it still the dilemma?
yeah,
Yeah,
transgender
dilemma.
Dilemma.
Delima?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dilemma,
What?
nice.
I named it
That was
that
funny.
because like
Yeah, you named
Bro.
dilemma.
hold on. But that was a good talk with that guy though. He was pretty
That was a-
interesting.
I can't wait till Joe. Really.
He's also a great primary source for things.
Exactly.
Of course. Except like Lethal probably just would have like threatened to toss us all in jail.
Yeah. Mandated reporter.
He's
I'm
a
a mandated
representation.
reporter.
He's
He's
mandated
a
reporter. Don't
representation.
say nothing about him, guys. He's gonna put you in jail.
That dude though, he was a representation of what a cop should be.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Oh, very much
What's
so.
that from?
Someone who uses their morals more than they would. Someone who would quit if it ever went past a point.
I would.
like-
I know I'm training to be one, but I'll gladly give up this dream if the boog happens when it does happen.
You're a sick fuck, bro. Why'd you chop the head off first?
Bro,
Okay.
killed. I can't say it. Never mind.
Girl, say it, man. Say it.
No,
Speak
I
your mind.
Slay it. Don't like it.
I was gonna say killed the N word, but I can't say.
Oh, okay.
That's the first time the stream cared about that.
I have to admit that when we were all talking at once, I accidentally let an N-word slip, and I don't think anybody heard it. But
I didn't
I have
hear
to
it.
learn
Probably
it.
like
Good.
Yeah.
flagged out slightly areas.
I can't let it weigh down my conscience.
Because you feel so bad about saying the N word?
Well, I feel bad about breaking TOS on your stream. So you're a good guy.
Oh,
I don't
no,
want
man. Like,
to risk
bro,
that.
I'm
Cumjar
safe.
from episode 2, he said it like 3 times. But like, we were all
Said
like,
it 3 times.
wait, what?
In the first stream, people said it like 18 times.
Not in the show. Not during the show.
Yeah, on the show. Yeah,
No, they didn't. Not on the first episode.
I
I watched
watched
the
it.
VOD for
Yeah,
the first episode.
the
They
first
didn't.
one.
They did not say the word at all in the first
Yeah,
episode.
they did. I watched
Who?
it. I don't know everybody's name on there. I'm not on iFunny.
It wasn't with the ER. If it
You're
was
not on
said.
iFunny?
No, I'm just
No.
friends with Monkey.
I'm just friends
That's
with
why
the
I
monkey.
wasn't even saying anything really, because I don't know you guys like that. I'm just here to play
Yeah,
games and
yeah,
listen.
he's more the Twitter person.
I'm just
but-
here for audio, well, actual visual stimulation.
Well, that's what I was doing too. Playing Overwatch.
But I swear to God, there was no one who said the N word on the first episode.
All right.
At least not with the ER. It was probably said with the A.
Well, all right, and maybe not with the ER, but I don't think Twitch cares. That's my main point.
Yeah, Twitch
Twitch cares.
doesn't care.
Yeah,
Unless
Twitch
we have
cares.
unless we have a titty streamer in here, they're not gonna
Yeah.
care.
That's very
I
true.
mean,
So if you can get to Zan next episode, maybe we can get away with it.
Perhaps. I don't know.
Somebody's mouth breathing.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
shit,
right.
It
What
might
is
be
that?
Von Miller.
Not me.
She be liking kids.
You do be liking kids though.
It is Von Miller.
Watch
What?
out, Lethal might be
What?
listening to the podcast.
Uh-oh,
I hope he tuned in at least briefly.
Lethal, suck my
Yeah,
dick.
hopefully.
But I'd like to thank you all for coming out, though, man. I think we're about to end this soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
no
for
problem.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
Of course, man.
I would
First time
happily
we've been
be
on
here.
one, so-
Yep. I'd be happy to come on again and share my wisdom of big cats.
Please do share
is-
a big cat fact.
Yeah,
This is a
you should read out the cat fact that you posted.
Well, yeah, I posted them, but I didn't realize that it's just streaming the fucking
Was that what
game.
Was that actually
You
you?
only posted two.
What?
Was that video of the? Are you talking about that video of the chat where like some chick is like saying like, "Do you
Yeah,
want
no.
sex?"
Scroll down on the stream on your side, and they can Twitch can see my big cat facts that I posted.
Oh. Lynx can spawn a mouse from 250 feet away. When tigers are
Look
first
at
born,
that.
their mothers lick their face, and that triggers their lungs to start working. I actually knew that
Yeah.
one. I did know that second big fact.
That's probably because I posted it earlier. I think I reused it.
No, I just knew that from the Animal Planet channel.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I used
Animal
to watch
Planet
that a lot.
channel.
Exactly.
Can you share any? Can you share any monkey facts with?
Bro, you're a sadist. Stop going for the head.
I love it.
Can I share any monkey facts? The monkey in my profile picture, the one with the big nose, those are called probos. I think it's called. I think you pronounce
Proboscis
it.
monkeys.
Say that again.
Proboscis monkeys.
Yeah, proboscis. That's how you say it.
Tobuscus?
Yeah, tobuscus.
Tabasco.
Yes.
I should be the monkey. Get out
Start petition for that.
Subscribe.
Bro, how did
Yeah,
you
too
just
bad
like
he's
unlock
rapist.
that memory for me? God, I miss Tobuscus. Actually, I don't miss him,
Can't
but
believe
I
it.
used to watch the hell out of him.
Do you remember that?
We are a straight bunch of.
But,
Yeah.
I think I'm about to end the stream though, guys. I mean, I'll probably
We
still
need
stay in the chat, like if you guys still want to talk, but like I'm about to
Yeah,
end this
let's-
sucker. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you all for
stick around.
tuning in though for
We need
this
to-
episode of Monkey Business Podcast. You all been awesome. Catch you boys. What
need
does
some
PewDiePie
outro
say? What does
bro.
PewDiePie say?
Brofist.
Brofist.
Bro,
Bro fist.
we need some outro, bro.